Hello everybody, hope you had a great weekend. I apologize for the lateness of this video. I kind of got caught up playing Diablo 2 Resurrected. But anyway, welcome back. I'm going to be going over how to do presets for PvP. Alright, so let's start off down over in our rally spot. And this is going to be basically going over if you're kind of like me, right? If you had that 1.6, 1.5 million March preset and how you want to break it down into the actual fight. Mind you, if you're not at this level yet, you're going to want to scale this down to your level, but you'll get the general concept. So let's go to March presets and let's look at archers. So my first preset for archers, which is my second preset, is how I have it. I actually need to swap them around a little bit to get them in more of a correct order, but that's a separate note. So in your presets, obviously you want to select all of your subsidies, right? Because if you're going to attack somebody solo 1v1, then you want to have your subs in that fight, because these subs are going to help debuff the enemy and reduce their numbers. So you could be hitting, like for example, I'm right about 1200% archer attack, and I know I can debuff a 1200% archer attack to 600%. So sending your subsidies helps get those debuffs, and your march is going to do even better. So basic guide to the preset is you want layers all the way down to T1, right? So let's scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I have set up 1k layers minus my T1s. I have 500 because I wanted to have an even number of that 1 mil mark on my T12s. But anyway, so these I put 500, but everything above that is 1,000 with 10k of archers on each tier. Now this is just personal preference how I'm doing it. Kind of saved me, a little bit of power and loss on my higher tier troops. So I start with 1,000, and every time I get to archers, I increase them to 10,000, and that's going to be all the way up till my T10s, I believe is what I have it at. Yes, so at T10s I add in 100,000 troops. T11s I do the same thing, 100,000. Now everybody normally attacks with this setup with the T12 heavy setup, right? So my T12s are what I'm mainly sending in this march, so I'm going to skip those over for a second. And then my T13s is at 170,000, and then my archers are 125,000. So let's kind of break this down in the fight, right? So when you go into a fight in the game, T14 troops are targeted first. What does that mean? That means if you send nothing but T14s, they're going to be targeted first, they're going to die, and you may do well, you may not. Kind of a risky business, but you're also going to have to heal a lot, and it's going to cost a lot of resources and a lot of speeds to get those troops back. So I start with 125,000, that's manageable. And then I send a little more than that on my T30s, about 50,000 more. And then I top off my entire wave with those T12 archers. So my total march size is 1.6 million troops. And this hit, I want to say I lose about 90 mil power. Let's see if we can find a report where I use this in Battlefield. So scroll down. So 25 was our first. I got a proper march and not some makeshift march. September 25th. A lot of attacks and stuff. Alright, so right here, scout, attacks lost. Here we go. This was so here's my archer march. I lost 82.1 million power on this hit, and person we hit lost 1.4. I definitely like this new setup too, if you guys have noticed the update with the battle details. So to show you normally how my archers do, so my T14s with this setup normally get about double. Same thing with my T13, so you're getting 2 to 1 on those two troop types. And then you should be getting about 2 to 1 with your T12s as well. So the overall goal is to at least get 1 for 1, obviously, with your marches. Keep going down. My 100,000 got 2 to 1 there. You know, T10s did a little extra work. You know, they got fucking 6.5 to 1. That's a good example of how this Archer March works, right? And then you can see my 10K doing a little extra work throughout the report. But this isn't really what you're focused on. Your main goal is those T12s and seeing how much they're hitting for. And if you're someone big like this guy, you know, they do triple. So anyway, that's Archer March. Let's go into the Cav March. So March preset. My Cav is my preset 4. Same thing, you're going to want those subsidies in there. Alright. You want to follow the same template with the 1,000 troops all the way down. I have the 10K troops, I think only going to, I think, 7s. Yeah, and then I stop at 7s and I just have the 1000s. So, I mean, I like to experiment with my march, see how troops do what in certain situations, and this is part of my experiment. Normally, they would all be 10,000 troops through, but my goal is just, I want to at least have a minimum of 1 million of T12s in all my rallies, all T12 of that troop type in that rally. All right, so same general concept. You're looking at around 150, 125 to 150 on the T14s. So I have a little more here because I have a lot of cav in my city. T13 is about 175. So same way as the archers are set up, and then you got that 1 million T12, and you should have the 100,000 T11, 100,000 T10, and all the way through, all the way down to T1. Make sure you got troops to help in the fight. So in a report like this, normally cav marches do not do well, right? I gotta see if I can find a cav report. Let's see, attacks lost. Here we go. Here's a cav report. So with this march, I lose 62 million power. This might not be a full proper march for me because I'm at 1.2 billion power. I want to say it's going to be closer to 80 million is what I lose, 80 to 85 mil. But if we go into the battle detail and you look at the troops, yeah, see here, I don't have those T14s. So let's not use this report. This one's kind of a bad. Let's go further down where I have troops left. Here we go. Oh, see that 142 million? This is what you do not want. This is bad. That means I sent T14 heavy. So if we go into here, click. So yeah, 1 million T14s got sent in that, and they did not do well. This is why you do not want to be T14 heavy. Alright, so something that you need to know about presets is, so if you run out of your T12s, right, it's automatically going to start filling in with higher tiers. It'll go to 14s and it'll go to 13s. So if you don't have a lot of T12s, your first march might be proper. You know, maybe you got a good second march, but that third march is going to start filling in your T14s, and that's what happened here. So be cognizant of that when you're doing your attacking in battlefields and things like that. Keep track of your troops so you're not making an idiot mistake like myself here and sending a million T14 calves. Alright. But let's see if I can keep scrolling down here and find another one where I have a proper cav march. That's not it. Here we go. That looks a bit closer. Let's see what this one has. Thoth. Yeah, so it's a little T14 heavy. That's fine. You know, coming back down to my T12s, yeah, I didn't have many T12s left, but as you can see, they get more than what you send normally. And that's the goal. Alright, so with that being said, let's go to our ground preset. Here we are. Once again, make sure the subs are in there, and then here's my ground setup. 1K layers all the way through at the minimum. I start with 125,000 T14s. I move to 175,000 T13s. course, I hit that 1 million mark because that's what I want to be sending in every one. And then my T11's 100K, my T10's 100K, and then as you see that 10K all the way down. And that's what I'm working. That's a personal thing of mine. Not everybody does that. Most people just put the 1,000 troops and they're good to go. But yeah, so ground march, pretty much the same thing. So order of attacks normally go archer, cav, ground, depending on if you siege the target or not, which we'll go into siege here in a second. So ground is normally your clearing, right? These are the big hits. Nowadays, people have decided to start increasing their ground buffs, their defenses and HPs, and the way around that is you have to take out the range. So you siege hit them first. You might have to siege them twice, maybe 3 times, just to get through all their siege and all their archers, and then you hit them with the archer hit following that siege to wipe out all their cav, and then you just cav them to take out their ground, right? Because I probably should have put this in the beginning of the video. So the way that troops work is cav is vulnerable to archers, all right? Archers are vulnerable to ground, and ground is vulnerable to cav, all right? And then siege targets range. So if there's siege in the city, siege is going to target siege. If there's archers, then siege is going to target the archers. And then siege is weak against ground and cav. All right. That being said, we'll go into that siege. Like I said, the ground setup. Actually, I'll show you. I've been showing you the reports for ground. So let's see if I can find the ground hit for you. Attacks. Usually they're going to be your attacks 1 because people are getting zeroed by that ground march. Let's see if I can find one. Here we go. So here, yeah. Well, that wasn't a city hit. No, I just clicked on the same one, didn't I? That was just a temple hit. I'm trying to show you guys rally. No. Is this one? Nope, that's not one either. I had a lot of ground troops left at this point, and that's why I was strictly attacking with ground. Is this a ground? I think this is a ground rally. But he's a weak hit. Man, I'm sorry. I should have pre-planned this out for you guys. That's a cav wipe. That's another cav. And so, like I said, I'm not going to dig through all these reports and waste time, but basically ground is what your final hit, and it does massive wipes, usually 1 to 2 billion, somewhere in there to clear somebody out. All right, and then last but not least, siege, which is highly controversial, right? So siege, I gotta undo my general real quick. That's my general for siege. Go back in that March preset. Here we are. So there's a couple ways to do siege. Obviously, you want those subsidies, and I'm gonna go ahead and just stop right here. So T11 siege hits have been really useful. You can use them in Battlefield. People normally just use the higher tier siege in Battlefield because you're going to get them back. But SVS and without outside SVS on your own server, where troops are lost or troops lost, people want to send that T11 hit. So the way T11 hit works is basically 1K of everything minus T11s, and you just top off your march with those T11s, or however many you can, you're willing to lose. So if you're willing to lose 1.6 million T11s, you send 1.6 million T11s, and they do really well. We actually T11'd a guy in SVS. I have the report saved. Let's see if I can find them. There was a bunch of attacks lost back to back. Was it this one? Was this the guy? Yep, Liam. Here we go. So let's 710, 710, 710 right here. So yeah, this was our first T11 hit against the guy. This is an 8 billion player, and when we hit him, we killed 10 million troops. Obviously, we lost everything in that hit as well because it's T11s. but T11s are easy to bring back, especially in SVS. So what did we do? We did it again. And this hit a lot better in power, a little less in kills, which means that we pretty much hit his higher layer troops here. Let's go ahead and look at the battle detail. I'll show you guys a little bit of what they do. Probably should have shown you the first one because they got better numbers, but as you see, 1,000 everything minus that, and I'm literally getting 1-for-1 almost. Go back to that first one, see what I got on that one. Battle detail for T11s. Scroll down. Here we are. And that 1-for-1 again, right? And then usually the first one, second one is kind of you know, 1-for-1. But if you keep going after that, not these two, it's gonna be this one. This is when it starts to get good, right? The third hit, especially on big boys like this. We almost a billion power hit, took out 20 million troops, and this is once again losing 50 mil power on my side, you know, of the fight. And let's look at what these T11s did at this point. Double. They got double their kills. So I think I was also sending T10s in mine, and even my T10s got triple. So I did it like that just to, you know, make the losses a little more manageable on my end. But our alliance, literally, this guy started at 8 billion power, and by the time he got online and bubbled and left, it was, let's see where we left him at. Nope, not that one. 710 right here. He was at 3.3 billion, and this hit was terrible. It was really cav. Like I said, cav hits are really hard to, you know, make positive and do good with. But yeah, we dropped an 8 build power player down to 3.3 using those T11 siege hits. But back to the preset itself and what we use in battlefields is currently. So the thing about sieges, if you're gonna do it one way, the whole alliance needs to be having the same setup. If one person's doing T11s, one person's doing T13s, you know, it messes the numbers up. You're not really gonna be very effective. So everybody needs to be on the same page when it comes to siege. So 50,000 T14s is what we're going with, and we're topping off with our T13s. And then we have 200,000 troops, or 200,000 siege of the 12s, 200,000 of the 11s, 200,000 of the 10s, and 200,000 of the 9s. 1,000 of everything else, and then top off with those T13s. And this is for battlefield. That's how we attack in battlefield. All right, guys. With that being said, those are presets and how they should look and how effective they can be. If you like this video, please follow the YouTube. Everything's down in the lower right-hand corner. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.